Good evening and welcome to the Gaunt Show, live here on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Well, Keir Starmer says Britain isn't broken. He's a liar. He's a failure. And I believe now he's finished. Watch this show and I'll explain why. I want your comments as well. What's your view on the state we're in? Look around you. Illegal immigration is totally out of control. Hotels across the country are packed with illegal migrants, whilst veterans who serve this nation sleep rough on the streets. And Starmer says Britain isn't broken. Criminal gangs are making a fortune off our weakness, not just at Dover by bringing in the illegals, but by controlling the drug trade, which Starmer does nothing about. Absolutely nothing. And Britain isn't broken. What about the economy? It's not just struggling, it's collapsing. Don't believe me? Well, look at the small businesses who are being strangled by taxes. Look at the amount of pubs that are shutting down at record rates. And look at ordinary Brits who are being crushed by the cost of living. And Britain isn't broken, according to Starmer. And now, and this is scary, all over the papers today, all over the political programs, we're staring down the barrel of something we haven't seen since the 1970s. No, not Mud, not Slade, not Flares. No, worse than all of that, apart from the strikes, the prospect of an IMF bailout. It's not a furniture store, it's the International Monetary Fund. We are skint. Rachel Reeves hasn't got a clue. What's Keir Starmer doing about this? Well, he's ignoring that crisis as well. Has he sacked his useless Chancellor, Rachel Thieves? No. What he's doing instead is attacking anyone who calls him out. And he's basically calling them far-right fascists. Now, today, yesterday it started, he wants to attack Nigel Farage. He wants to say Farage isn't the answer. Well, you better tell people quickly, Mr. Starmer, because most people think he is the solution. It's a desperate political suicide mission that he's on. He cannot win by attacking Nigel Farage. It's like a kamikaze political stunt, isn't it? And not only that, his own MPs, like the rats they are deserting the sinking ship. They're plotting against him. Cabinet figures are circling like vultures, and he's clinging to power like a cornered animal. Although, you've always got to remember, you get an animal in a corner, that's when they're most dangerous. And so tonight, or this afternoon, I'm going to cut through his lies. I'm going to expose the immigration scandal. He's got a new wizard wheeze. He's taking judges out of the appeal process. They're not proper judges anyway. And he says this will speed it up. What it will do, ladies and gents, he's going to speed up. I told you this weeks ago. Very good friend of mine is in the human rights business, and it is a business. He said he'll just let more in. They're going to lower the standards. You know, like the police, they lowered the standards. So now when you call coppers, it's like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Do you understand what I mean? He is clinging to power like a cornered animal, but he's dangerous because he'll do anything he can now to keep in power. So he's going to let even more people into the country. He's going to attack our flag, although he thinks he's a patriot. We're going to head to economic disaster because he won't sack Rachel Reeves. There's a revolt inside his own party. They all want to be on the make. Angela Rayner is telling us we can only have one house. She's bought 3. Forget about 2 Jags Prescott. It's 3 gaffs. Angela Rayner. She can have 3 houses. How's she affording it? I don't know. Maybe you do. Stay with me because the truth, honestly, will start here. What about that for an opening? You've got to admit, that's a pretty good amount of stuff we can talk about. Ben SK says amnesty. It won't need to be an amnesty. He won't do that because he knows that'll cause grief. He's just going to lower the standards so more people will be let in. They will crash the economy. It's all going to plan, says Ben SK. Thank you very much. Don't get into your conspiracies, please. Change is coming, says Phil in Valencia. If you want to comment, you just write a little note at the bottom of the screen. If you're listening on an audio podcast, come back later and watch the whole show on John Gaunt TV. But it isn't just about immigration. Let's go through it step by step. That's what I want to do today. Illegal immigration isn't just an issue. It's an absolute national scandal. Every single day, not last week so much because the weather was bad, but boats are crossing the channel, and every single day, Starmer does nothing. He fiddles whilst Dover or Rome burns. We're spending millions of your money, which is putting up our debt to unbelievable levels. It is like the 70s. Get your flares ready. Get your platforms. We're back to the 70s. The music will be better, especially the late 70s. We're housing migrants in hotels and spending a fortune, whilst British citizens are told there's no help available. Not only that, as I predicted, this whole thing about putting them in hotels, it's all illegal. It's all wrong. For once, judges are overstepping the mark, but actually helping the British people and saying you didn't apply for change of use. Get those economic migrants, those crooks, those thieves, some of them rapists, out of those hotels. And it's every hotel by the look of it. What dimwit in the Home Office was responsible? Oh, and by the way, the Home Office, they've all just got massive pay rises. These people didn't even do the basic homework. And as somebody said last week about insurance, have they changed the insurance on these properties? Or is that illegal as well? The whole thing is a complete and utter mess. And what's Starmer's reaction? Does Starmer say, do you know what? John Gaunt's right. What he's been saying, and what Nigel Farage is now saying, let's build secure places, old army camps. Let's put them in there. Let's get the army on the beach. Let's get the Navy in the Channel. And let's say no more. Let's get out of the human rights and let's get our country back. He's not saying any of those things. Nigel Farage is, which is why I think you'll find Starmer is now deciding to attack him again. But it's too little too late, Starmer. You're a dead man walking. Don't believe this spin about we're going to take tough action. You haven't broken up the gangs. You couldn't smash an avocado, let alone a gang. You moron. You spineless moron. You haven't stopped the crossings. In fact, since we signed that deal with France, more have come in than before. I thought it was one in, one out. Then we were told it was one in, 17 in, one out, if you do the maths. Now it's as many as you want in, because Pierre ain't doing anything to stop them. Or Macron. They're looking the other way. Now, this isn't just incompetence, ladies and gents. It's betrayal. Ask yourself, what kind of leader prioritizes those who break our laws over those who built this great country, which includes, by the way, many, many immigrants over the years, the ones who came in legally, who helped to make this country Great Britain? What other leader would stand by and allow councils to take down the Union flag and the flag of St. George or be offended by it? What other country even has debates about whether our flag is racist or not, or being patriotic is flag shagging? No other country in the world. How long will it be before the Red Arrows, if they keep funding them, are told they can no longer have the white, the Union Jack colours coming out of the back of their exhaust pipes or whatever they're called, yeah? They'll no longer be able to be red white and blue, because you know what? It'll be Wayfifth. It'll be Wayfifth. It'll be Wayfifth. We've already got a professor of black history at the University of Birmingham. Well, it's not the University of Birmingham, ex-Birmingham Polytechnic, who's now telling us our flag is racist. Who allows somebody like that to get to a position of power to influence our next generation? And what about the cost? Billions. Whilst your communities are straining under the pressure, whilst your kids can't get a council house, Starmer's solution to the problem, and he was doing it even before the court case in Epping, is to put them in homes of multiple occupation. Well, that's a really good idea. Don't let the young people of this country get a house. I'll tell you what, let's bribe and blackmail private landlords and put them in houses next to you. You won't know who they are. And I'll tell you why you won't know who they are or where they've come from or what their background is. Because the bloody government doesn't know either. Starmer just hides behind empty rhetoric and photo opportunities, usually in foreign countries. He's never here. He says that Britain is not broken. Well, I have got to ask the question, how the fucking hell would he know? He's never in our country. Am I unfair or am I telling the truth? I would like your opinion. Just put your comments down there. We're coming to them any minute now. Denise Deacon says, no wonder Angela Rayner wants more tax money. She needs to pay for all those houses. Yeah, do you like my nickname for her? Huh? 3 gaffs Angela. Then she's doing all right for herself. Fraser Ford says, I've hit the target. Thank you, Fraser. Denise Deegan, Starmer is hanging off a cliff edge with his fingernails. Yeah, I can't wait for it. Do you remember in those cartoons where they scrape down the blackboard? That sound, oh, it's horrible, puts you on edge. But that's where he is. Somebody's got to now stamp on his hands on the cliff top. I made a live. Oh, what does that mean, Victor? Victor John Clark Meldrew. I haven't got a clue what you're on about. The Lily Cat in Albury. We shouldn't rely on France. We should be able to defend our own borders. Precisely. So what we need to do is what Nigel Farage suggested yesterday. We need to rip up the European Court of Human Rights, and we need to have our own human rights. We need to secure our border and not give a toss about what France or anybody else says. The Greeks haven't bothered, and they've cut it massively. Look what Trump's achieved. No illegal immigration on the southern border. He hasn't even needed the wall. He just put tough sentence in there. Greece said, you come to Greece or any of the Greek islands, we're going to send you straight back to where you come from. And if we don't know where you've come from because you got rid of your documents, we're going to lock you up in a Greek jail. I wouldn't fancy that myself. The British economy now, let's talk about that. That's so important. It's flatlining. This is all about Starmer. Starmer says Britain isn't broken. I say Starmer is a liar, a fraud. I also say he's now finished. Small businesses, the backbone of this great country, are being destroyed by his tax policies. National insurance hikes, endless regulation, and the minimum wage. It sounds good in the headlines, but devastates employers, particularly in the hospitality trade. I know this. You listen to my podcast when I interviewed Rick Cressman from Nailcott Hall. He talked about the effect it was having, and he said it's not even helping young people. Hospitality is bleeding out. Pubs, once the heart of our communities, are closing at record rates. And now the financial markets, I'm not messing about, this is in all the papers today, are sending out alarm signs, warning signs, danger, danger. We are, for the first time in decades, close to an IMF intervention. People just won't lend us the money. Britain will be bankrupt. This is a humiliation we thought we'd left in the history books of old Labour. But it isn't. It's back. And this isn't just bad luck. It's the result of bad, shall I say, terrible leadership. Britain cannot survive like this, ladies and gents. And yet Starmer insists that Britain is not broken. Today he had time to congratulate Ukraine. It's their Independence Day or something. And he said, we stand with Ukraine. Wait, no, we don't. We stand with British people. We stand with protecting our country. Why are you talking about helping Ukraine fight Russia, you plunker? You can't even defend Dover. Either Starmer's lying to you or he's so deluded the man should be nowhere near power. Am I going over the top, or do you agree with me today on the John Gaunt podcast here? You can't even shout that you love bacon. Yeah, the Americans are taking the mickey out of us about that, aren't they? I'm coming on to free speech in the moment, so just wait for that, Fraser. It's the next generation I'm worried about, says Victor. I'm worried about. We've had a bad lot in politics. The next crop seems to be wiser here and in Europe. Do they? Which crop are you talking about? I don't see anyone talking much sense, maybe apart from Ben Habib and your man Nigel Farage. None of the traditional parties. Janet War says Starmer's dad was a tool maker. His son is the biggest tool he ever made. Howard G says, come on, lots of room in Britain for the poor immigrants. Are you being sarcastic, Howard? I hope so. Keep up the good work, my friend. Spread the word, says Terry Paul. Well, Terry, I need you to spread the word. If you could do that, that would be great. Share this stream. Retweet it. Tell people about the show. And if you'd like, and press the like button, of course. But if you'd like to donate, I would love to have your donations. You can do it now whilst I'm on YouTube. You just press that little $sign and donate whatever you want. Every penny goes to expand the podcasts and the videos. Or alternatively, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt, and you can donate from $5 upwards. You can either buy me a metaphorical beer or metaphorical coffee, whatever you fancy. www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. And don't forget, this is an extra show. What you definitely get is Monday to Thursday, 6:30 in the evenings. But then I do extra shows and I do interview shows as well. But on a Sunday now, I've started doing them just because there's so much to talk about. The Politics blog, good blog, follow it. Starmer is deluded. They've killed investment. They've helped hike the cost of living even more. And the economy is on a road towards needing a bailout thanks to the financial illiteracy of Labour. Correct. Exactly what I'm saying too. So what else do we need to talk about? Let me tell you about the other bits in my agenda. While this country burns, Starmer's own house is collapsing. Labour backbenchers are now openly challenging him. Cabinet figures are manoeuvring to replace him. I see today somebody put the boot in. I think it was Angela Rayner, put the boot into Sadiq Khan because he wants to be the next Prime Minister. Could you imagine that? We think we've got problems with Starmer. So they're all manoeuvring to replace him. The knives are out. They're sharpening and they're getting closer to Starmer's back. They won't find a spine because he hasn't got one. But on top of that, allegations swirl. What about the interference, whichever way you look at it, in the Lucy Connolly case? What about the attempts to clamp down on free speech using the machinery of power to silence critics? Is this really Britain? Is this the Britain that our heroes fought for, where a woman gets sent to prison for 31 months for one social media post, which she apologized for and she took down, with a laughing stock of the world? The most powerful man in the world, Donald Trump, is now going to look into the Lucy Connolly case. Don't know if you've watched or heard the interviews she's done. Lots of people criticizing her. Well, she wants to get her side of the story out. And why not? Why hasn't Starmer spoken to her? What he did, see, and this is where the two-tier bit comes in. The moment he stood up and said everybody was a far-right thug and I want tough sentences, the judges followed him to the letter. It's not that a jury was nobbled. He didn't have to do that. He just had to make this big speech. But he didn't have time to go and speak to the people who had lost loved ones at the hands of evil Rudy Cabana, did he? No, he didn't. In Southport, he did quite the opposite. He ran away. Is that a leader? Is that a leader? And so what he does now is what all weak leaders, even dictators, do. When they're failing the country, they try to silence the truth. Starmer isn't leading. He's merely surviving. He is on that cliff edge, like one of my people said earlier, day by day, while us, the rest of Britain, pays the price. Because he'll get himself a big fat job with the WEF or with the United Nations or even with Europe, because that's where he wants to be. And then, of course, this is the big one, the Farage factor. And this desperate gamble he's started on this weekend. I'm talking about Starmer, our Prime Minister, not Nigel Farage of Reform UK. What's the big move? He's going to attack Nigel Farage starting next week. It's laughable. It's just laughable. Farage commands a massive, passionate base. And Starmer? Well, he hasn't got any poll numbers. Was it minus 54 approval rating? The worst on record. Even his own party don't trust him. And from that thick lip, it looks like his own missus doesn't trust him. This is distraction policy at its worst. He's now going to pick a fight with Nigel, a figure the establishment loves to hate, and hope that people forget about everything else. But here's the problem. This fight won't save him. This will destroy Starmer because it exposes how weak and desperate he truly is. I've looked at what Farage is proposing in terms of cutting immigration. He's talking about mass deportation now. He's talking about secure camps. I mean, to be fair, so is Kemi Badenoch. The agenda is coming round the way I've been going on about. He's talking about securing the borders. He's talking about leaving the ECHR. He's talking about leaving behind human rights. He's talking about having our own constitution around these issues. I don't think there's anyone in Britain who, if they just calm down for a minute, would disagree with that. Because that's still saying we'll have immigration, which we've got to have. We do need immigration, but well-controlled, managed, not people who are using illegal methods to jump the queue. Are you with me or against me? If you like what I'm saying, please press the like button. Please press the share button. And please donate a few bob. So let's finish off. Illegal immigration is spiraling out of control in the United Kingdom. We've got a collapsing economy. Looks like we're going to need an IMF bailout, and that's not far on the horizon. The budget's going to be a disaster. His own party, Labour, are plotting to dump him and replace him. And Starmer says Britain isn't broken. What planet is he living on? He's lying, because Britain is broken, and it's leaders like him who broke it, and indeed some of the Conservatives before. And until we all face that truth, until we demand better, nothing will change. Starmer's time is running out. He's sinking. And when it's over, we're going to look back and wonder how on earth ever did this man think he could lie his way through crisis after crisis after crisis. And as he goes down, stop it at the back, I don't want him to take the rest of us, because he's lying. When he says Britain isn't broken, Starmer is lying. Illegal immigration is out of control. Criminal gangs are getting away with literal murder. Economic collapse is happening. And there is a bailout threat from the IMF. The cost of living crisis is crushing ordinary Brits. You know that when you go shopping. There's a Labour Party revolt. I don't really give two shits about that, but there is. There's allegations of interference, the Lucy Connolly case and the free speech clampdown. He doesn't want us to speak. That's why he's happy that the pubs are closing as well. And then there's this massive gamble he's taking now. He's going to take on Nigel Farage. I tell you what, if it was a boxing match, the ref would stop it before it even started. He's got no chance against Nigel. Do you agree with me? And then there's his patriotism. He tries to wrap himself up in the flag, but he's a fake. He's a flake and a fake. He doesn't believe in our flag. He doesn't believe in our boys. If he did, he'd make it clear to all those councils, leave the flags alone. He would have made sure all the Palestinian flags had been taken down by now. He wouldn't have allowed Hamas stroke Palestinian Occupy or whatever they're called to march in London for month after month after month after month. And he would not allow people to say our flag's racist. Not top academics. That guy should be punished for what he said. He's allowed to say it, but should he be teaching our kids? And I'm telling you now, taking on Farage, that's the final moment. So when he says Britain isn't broken, remember, he's lying. Illegal immigration, the collapsing economy, the revolt in the Labour Party, all of that just proves that your Prime Minister, Starmer, arrest me if you want, is a liar, a failure, and totally finished. Do you agree with me? If you do, or even if you disagree, hit the like button, share this stream, and please subscribe to John Gaunt TV on YouTube. It's completely free. Then you'll always know when I'm going to be doing a show. And the more people who see this, the harder it is for them to hide the truth. Now, drop your chats in the thoughts, because we're now going to the chat section. Let's make some noise. I like that. I did quite well there, I thought. Anyway, let's move on. Let's take your comments. Paul Griffiths. Build flat pack military camp on an uninhabited Scotland island, and we can start emptying the hotels in a week. You don't need to build a new camp, Paul. They're everywhere. Let's just use the camps we've got and let's put them in tents. How about that? Ben SK is obviously arguing with somebody else on here. We don't do that, Ben, and that's the way to get yourself banned. If you've got something to say it to my face. He just said I was a conspiracy theorist, spelt interestingly. I'm not. I've got a financial advisor who's moved my pension pot into overseas investments. Well, good for you, my friend. Why don't you just argue with me? Don't start slagging me off on the side. I'll just ban you. I haven't got time for you. Howard G, if we had a war, all the young men would go fight, and the immigrants who take care of your women. I don't know about that, Howard. I think you're saying that our lads would go away and then our women would be even more exposed. I don't think many people would vote for him. I don't think if he wanted them to go to Ukraine, they would. It's just my opinion. You may have a different one. They are kept there while processed. Kept where, Paul? Just keep them in secure camps. In this country, we've got loads of military establishment where they could go. Enid says, you're so right, John. We're heading for bankruptcy. Starmer is an absolute disaster. A waste of time. Get him out. He's useless. Problem is, we can't get him out at the moment, can we? We can't. Any country that doesn't allow deportation back to their country, we should take our UK funding away. Well, I agree with that. But of course, Paul, the problem is, how do we prove what country they're from if they're throwing the documents away? But what you should be mostly worried about is what is announced today. He's going to change. He says to speed up immigration. He's going to make it quicker to process people, not to deport them, but basically to allow them to stay. The only way he can get rid of that backlog, it's not going to be one in, one out. That would take centuries. He's got to have a big, bold move, and this is what he's trying to do. It's another lie. It's another contract. It's odd, isn't it? Starmer never visits businesses or towns. I'd love to see him in my city so I can tell him what I think of him. Well, I think it's ever since he went to, was it Cornwall? And he went in that pub. And they booted him out. And now loads of pubs have got signs above, haven't they? Barred list. And the one at the top, first name on the top is Keir Starmer. He's so unpopular. But he's coming back next week. The fight back starts and he's attacking Farage. What do you make of that? Anyway, just have a quick drink of water. If you want to donate, you know what to do. Press that little $sign for me, please. And then you get a mention on the show straight away. Or go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. Howard G says the politicians live in different worlds. They sure do. Graham Bagley, hello, John. It's great to finally make a live one. Oh, you mean my show? Yeah. Cheers, Gary. But Graham, but that's the thing about this, because it's on the internet, you can always watch it at another time. But thanks anyway for joining live today. I truly don't know what they're playing at. It must be by design. Well, that's where I'm coming to, Graham. Nothing will ever be done as all the immigration doesn't affect them. Well, clearly it doesn't. Clearly doesn't affect three gaffs. Angela Rayner, does it? Eh? Just bought another £685,000 flat in Brighton, well, in Hove, which is the poorer end of Brighton. But it's like, and she's the housing minister, and there's a housing shortage. You cannot believe the hypocrisy of these people. I get a migraine every time I see two-tier Keir on the TV. He's the most dangerous man in Britain. Sending you a coffee, John, says Gary Wilkinson. Thank you, Gary. You're a superstar. Lucy Connolly, I wanted some comments on her as well. Lucy Connolly hopefully will destroy Starmer, says Lily Cap. Well, I think she might, Lily, because I think what's going to happen there is she is going to go now and speak to the Donald Trump's people. I think she's doing that today. But I can see Trump saying, come to America, come to the White House, and Trump inviting her in and inviting all the TV crews, because J.D. Vance is convinced we haven't got free speech. And if he gets in the ear of Trump, then Trump will want to humiliate us. Well, not us, humiliate Starmer. We should have total free speech in this country. Of course we should. What she said was horrid. And I'd say that to her face. And she was a div for saying it. But, what did Starmer not say? And how bad was that? How much did that influence the riots? When he didn't stop and tell us straight away, it isn't a migrant, it's not a new arrival. We know who it is. Why did he cover that up? Why did he run away? Why is he such a coward, such a spineless bastard? Why? What's his agenda? Where's he trying to get to? Because there's no chance he will ever get elected again. It's all over. But a cornered animal is the most dangerous type. Remember that. Graham Bagley, thank you very much indeed. He's just bunged in at £1.99 or a couple of quid. Thank you, Graham. He's just done that by pressing the little dollar sign at the bottom of this YouTube video. If you'd like to do it, please do so. Anything you fancy would be great. Subscribed to John Gaunt, says Gary Wilkinson. Thank you, Gary. That's what everybody needs to do. Completely free to subscribe to John Gaunt TV. Liz Jones says, Nigel for me, clap, 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 and a big blue heart. Thank you, my friend. It's weird that the flag getting taken down fast when it's an English flag, or a British flag, Fraser. Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? The way these councils, especially Birmingham, they can't empty the effing bins, but they're taking down the flags as if they're going out of fashion. And that's just winding up ordinary people. The people who Starmer needs to vote for him. They're never going to vote for him again. But then maybe he's made the calculation, who else would you vote for? And if he keeps tarnishing Farage as a fascist, a Nazi, he thinks, well, he won't get enough votes anyway and I might still get in. I don't know. Is that the tactic? I just know we're in a complete and utter mess. Darren Cummings, two-tier, would rather be in Davos than Downing Street. Hope he is in on the 13th of September. Yes, Darren, that's Tommy Robinson's big protest, isn't it? Thank you for your comment. Darren, yeah, you're right about Davos. You said that himself. He'd rather be in Davos than Downing Street. These paid protesters get bussed around and the police give more protection to that side and let them get away with more stuff. That's how it looks, Fraser, and a lot of people thinking that as well. Starmer's heading us all to hell in a handcart, says Gruner. I can't argue with that, Gruner. I thought that was going to be Gooner, but it's Gruner. I must say as well, I'm sorry, I was going to do the show at 2 o'clock today. I had a bit of a hangover. What a day I had yesterday. Went with a mate to the football. Coventry City were just like, well, not quite like Brazil, but not far off it. They played with passion. They played with rhythm. They played with a sense of purpose. And they scored 5 goals in the first half. I began to feel sorry for Queen Park Rangers. I really did. It should have been like a junior match. You know, when you're at school, if you suddenly start getting hammered at rugby or football, the clock speeds up, the opposite of Fergie time. It finishes quicker. It needed to be. I mean, they weren't very good, but I don't want to take anything away from Coventry City. Coventry City were magnificent. And I've got to apologize. I keep apologizing, but I've got to apologize again. I said getting rid of Mark Robbins was a mistake. I thought that the bloke who owns the club was making a massive mistake. I didn't know what he was up to. I thought he'd sell out. And then yesterday as well, just before the game, it was announced that Coventry City have got their ground back. Well, if you're a football fan, you know how important that is. So they now own their own ground. It's fantastic. And that's down to the chairman, Doug King. I apologise unreservedly. And to Frank Lampard, he's turning into a brilliant head coach. It's going well. I know, I'm a football fan. It's 2 games in and the wheels could fall off the wagon. I know. But if you've watched the highlights of that game, you will see what I mean. Coventry were magnificent. Made me proud to come from there. Nigel Farage will tear Starmer a new one. He, Starmer, has ridden roughshod over the British electorate. His dislike of the working class is evident every time he opens his trap. Have we ever had a more openly divisive, that's a good way of describing him, Prime Minister ever? No, I don't think we have. He knows no shame. David Smith says, oh, yes, it is. I don't know what. Are you talking to somebody else in the chat? You're about to get banned as well if you carry on being a prat. Just make your point through the chair. Me. Trump knows we've got no free speech. He's getting warmed up with Starmer. Well, he was taking the mickey out of Starmer, in my opinion, when he saw him in the Oval Office. And I think that they're going to lay into us next week about Lucy Connolly. Don't get me wrong. I think she needed some kind of sentence. What she did was wrong. And I certainly think people who actually went into the hotel and set it on fire or tried to cause that kind of damage to the police, of course they needed to be arrested and feel the full weight of the law. But there was a feverish atmosphere, which Starmer could have calmed down, and he didn't. He played Billy Big Bollocks, didn't he? And said everyone was going to prison. That's what he did. And then the judges just followed. Wasn't an instruction, but the kind of mood of the day. But then it's funny how they don't do the same with Antifa or the left-wingers. That's the thing I think. I think that's about Britain, isn't it? We've got this amazing view of fair play. And at the moment, if you're British, born here, you don't think you're getting a fair treatment, do you? In law, media, jobs, attitude. No, we're not. We're being treated, if anything, we're being treated as if we're the minority, which is bonkers if you're anti-racist, anti-sexist, anti-everything. And how can our flag be this device? I just can't understand it. You'd never get away with that in Italy or Spain, would you? Faith Bowman, he is dangerous now in his ineptitude and lies. Yeah, but Faith, the problem is I don't think it is ineptitude. I think it's by design. All right, I've depressed the hell out of myself. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for making it a good show. Thank you for your contributions today. I mean, your physical contributions, your ideas and thoughts. Don't forget, the best way you can help me is tell everybody about the John Gaunt Show and about John Gaunt TV on YouTube. Get them to subscribe. It's free. And also get them to watch the show. Don't forget, every night, Monday to Thursday, most days, at 6:30, I'm here, unless something crops up. I'm here for 45 minutes, talking about what the big issue of the day is. I do extra ones as well. I'm doing some set-piece interviews next week. Didn't do any last week. Got let down by a couple of people. But there will be some next week. And also do extra ones. So I did an extra one today. So the best way to make sure you don't miss anything is to sign up, subscribe, free to John Gaunt on YouTube. And I got to say, brilliant today. 50 likes. That's the most we've ever had in a live show. People saying, I like this. So thank you. Let's just, Gruner's come back. I think this might be worth reading out. A few months ago, Starmer was bigging it up, saying he was going to send them all to Albania for processing. That was until the president humiliated him. The president of Albania, yeah, he did. By saying they're already dealing with Italy. Yeah, he said, we got to deal with Italy. We ain't doing a deal with you. He made Starmer look a twat. But he's not the only leader who's done that. Donald Trump does it every time he sees him. Liz Jones says, great, John. Thank you. No problem, Liz. Lily says, thanks, John. Gives me a couple of love hearts. How nice of you. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, he just can't get a deal. You know, that I was reading today in Times or The Observer, one of the big news, or The Telegraph it might have been. Basically, you know, the American trade deal, there's hardly anything in it. Not really a trade deal. And then nothing's really happened with India yet. So even the things he brags about, you know, and his coalition of the useless, what have they achieved? Jack shit. He's got to go. And I think he is right on the verge of going. I don't think he'll jump himself. I think he needs a bit more of a push. But I think his own party might give him that. But meanwhile, we might be totally sunk without a trace, like that boat behind me, because we're skint as a country, completely skint. So if you were completely skint, why would you let anybody else back into the country? Wouldn't you do what Farage is saying? Secure the borders. Anybody who turns up without papers, send them straight back to France. And if France want to take us on, come on, have a go if you think you're hard enough, so to speak. Shorthand, I'm talking here. It's just ridiculous. It's just nonsensical. Unless he's got another agenda. Margaret Colber says, how much more can we take before we manage to get rid of him? I don't know, Margaret. Not much, I don't think. All right, I've got to go. Look, will you stop now? I've got to read this one, actually. It's a good one. The good ones, I can't resist it. Graham Hatton says, what do you mean Trump and other leaders make him look like a twat? He does that all by himself, unaided and alone. Graham, you can stand in for me. Nice one. I liked it. I like your style, my friend. Okay, if you've got kids, I'm going now, seriously. The smell in this house. I wish this was smell-o-vision. I've got a piece of, brisket, and I put it on about 7 hours ago. Really low heat. Red wine, shallots, posh onions, as we'd call them in Radford. And what else did I put in it? Carrots, big chunks of carrots, tomatoes, olives. That's a Jamie Oliver thing. This is a concoction of a recipe. And when I go downstairs now, it'll almost be ready. You'll be able to just get 2 forks and fork off the meat, if you know what I mean. And it just falls off. And then this really thick gravy. Team that up with some spuds if you eat potatoes. I don't really, but there we are. I think we're having cauliflower cheese, because cauliflower is one of the good carbs. Anyway, that's my dinner. I'm looking forward to it, and a glass of red. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, no, I will do a show tomorrow. I don't know when, though, because it is Bank Holiday Monday, and I know I'm going to see my daughter at one point, so I've got to do that as well. Okay, I'm off. Have a great bank holiday. See you when I see you. Until then, if you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, don't forget to tell them you love them. And if you've enjoyed the show, please donate a few coffees. Please go to www.buymeacoffee.com/John Gaunt. See you soon. All the best. Bye.
This is your before and after story. Instead of imagining a rewarding career in medical imaging, Southeastern College can actually take you there. Prepare for a career in ultrasound, radiology, and X-ray technology. With hands-on specialized training, simulations, and real-life experience with the latest imaging technology, you'll be ready to play a vital role on any healthcare team. Transform your life by helping others. Southeastern College. Your future is bright. Visit scc.edu to get started.